Hello, everybody. Today I'd like to take a few minutes of your time to commemorate the dream of a 1920s Florida land developer. And that dream was the Tides Bath Club and Hotel. This resort was the linchpin or the beginnings of what would later become known as the Tampa Bay Gold Coast. Hi, my name is Bill. I was lucky enough to have worked at the Bath Club from 1992 to 1994 in its theater wing. And even though I was only there for a short period of time, I developed many happy memories of this wonderful old resort. Mr. Charles Redington had spent all of his winter vacations in Miami. He and his wife and his children fell in love with the beach colony type lifestyle they found there. And they wanted to recreate that colony lifestyle on the Gulf Coast of Florida rather than the ocean side. So, in 1930, Mr. Redington purchased a plot and began to build his house, the first Florida home. And once the first Florida home was built, other money people also began to build homes on what had before been nothing more than beachfront property with nothing on it. The construction of the Bath Club itself began in 1935 and was completed on New Year's Day in 1936 at the whopping cost of $75,000. That was a lot of money in 1936. Not so much today, but if you remember that United States was just coming out of the Great Depression, and so that was quite a bit of money to be spent on a resort. Through the end of the 1930s and all through the war years, the club was affected by World War II. There was gas rationing. Not many people could afford to drive out to the club from St. Petersburg or Tampa because of the rationing of gasoline and such. And so it began to have a slight decline. Now, at this point, it was initially being supported by 100 moneyed patrons who began with the club and wanted to see it as a success because they viewed it as their own personal, sparking little shining water hole and a source of entertainment for the whole area. And it was that people came from Tampa, Florida, across the bridge, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Florida. This was beginning to be the place to go by the late 1940s. And it was at this point that Mr. Alberding stepped in and purchased the property. He also had two other hotels, and this he purchased to join his chain of hotels. It also began a time of huge redevelopment, and by the 1950s, the Bath Club had almost doubled in size. It included a golf course, it included cottages, it included a motor inn, it included cabanas on the beach, two pools, and it also started all kinds of activities that had not been there before. There were bingo games, there were buffet dinners on Tuesday nights, there were swimming lessons for the children of the members. There was small club rooms where they had just a tiny, small combo band playing. They had a huge dining room. The dining room also had a German chef and a Swiss pastry chef that had been brought over from Europe just to cook at the Tides Bath Club for the people that lived there. By 1953, when North Redington Beach had become incorporated as a town, the Bath Club had become a huge place. The place to be and to be seen was the Bath Club in the early 1950s. It supported a membership list of over 3,000 people and had a very long list of people who wanted to join there. They had built a huge ballroom, and they had brought in nationally known bands. Sammy Kaye's band, Kay Kaiser's band had gone there to play. It was truly the place to be, and it was pure gold. Mr. Alberding had hired a new manager, Charles Doss, and he knew his job. He created all kinds of activities to bring people in. They actually had fireworks for the first time under Mr. Doss's management on the beach behind the Bath Club on the 4th of July. So it really started to cook by the mid-1950s. By the 1950s and 1960s, many famous celebrities had stayed at the Bath Club, including Jonathan Winters, Alfred Hitchcock, Ronald Reagan, and French actress Denise Darcel, and even Jim Backus of Gilligan's Island fame. His mother lived in St. Petersburg, and she was a member of the Bath Club. And so they attended a lot of activities whenever he came to visit his mother in St. Petersburg at the Bath Club. But perhaps the most famous of the celebrities that stayed there were Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio. They spent an 8-day visit at the Bath Club in March of 1961. And I've seen pictures and I've seen even a video, and I must say that they looked so relaxed and happy during their stay here that certainly the Bath Club was a good effect on both of them at the time. By the 1990s, the membership of the Bath Club was beginning to dwindle. The average age of the members were in their 80s. There was not much being done to attract a younger crowd. The place itself was beginning to go into disrepair. Things that needed to be repaired were costing so much money that they couldn't be repaired, or they were halfway repaired just to get you through. The wonderful ballroom that had seen the likes of Sammy Kaye and Kay Kaiser had now been turned into the dinner theater where I performed, and only had dances on Christmas vacation and New Year's. So things were definitely on the slide. In 1989, Mr. Alberding passed away, and he left the business in the hands of his 2 children. One of the children wanted to continue it as an icon that it was, and the other said it was not worth the headache, and was also, I think, looking at the price that they were being offered for the property that the Bath Club sat on. At this point, it was almost 2 miles of white sandy beach that it was sitting on, and worth quite a lot of money. So, in 1994, they decided to close the place down and accept an offer from a land developer. They had a huge auction for all of the fittings from the inside of the hotels, the bath club, the bars, the glassware, even to some lounge chairs that had been made of twigs in the 1920s and had sat on the bath club porches since the 1930s were auctioned off. After the auction was completed, the doors were closed for the last time in 1994, and in October of 1995, the bulldozers began the destruction of the buildings and the property. It was a very bittersweet thing to see, to witness. It had been there for so long, it was such an icon, and it was going. And the funny thing, in an odd sort of way to me, was that it began with a land developer's dream, and it ended with another land developer's dream. Sort of full circle, I suppose. This is the dream of the new land developer, which took the place of the Tides Bath Club. These are the Tides Bath condos. They are condos on the same spot of the 2-mile beachfront that the Tides Bath Club had occupied for almost 60 years. My resources for this speech were www.facebook.profile Tides Bath Club, www.floridamemory.com, www.knowlesfan10.mx, and www.tbnweekly.com, plus my own memories of the place when I worked there and my own bittersweet feelings about the closing of the place. I thank you for listening to me today. I hope that I have been able to impress upon you how important and what a wonderful place that this bath club was, and how much it added to the community and helped the community grow into what it is today. Thank you so very much for your time. Have a good evening.